Live from Chicago, this is Fox 32 News at Noon.
Next at noon, bracing for impact. We are live with the challenges that local food pantries are facing as SNAP benefits are cut.
An urgent search underway for the mother of Today's Show host Savannah Guthrie. The sheriff says they are treating her disappearance as a crime.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Sylvia Perez.
And I'm Natalie Bomke, and we want to take you outside at this hour to check the conditions there. You see some snow still settled over the Chicago area.
Yes, but it's not anywhere near as cold. Did you notice when you left the house this morning, right? What a difference.
Huge difference, yes. Temperature-wise, we're not doing so bad. Today, I do expect to be tagging 30 degrees, but we do have a touch of snow out there. You saw even from that live camera shot, a snow flurry. You saw those flakes from Chicago Point south and north from the big picture. As we take a closer look at the radar, behind me you can see that light blue color from Lake County stretching down into Cook County. Some more snow over Lake Michigan. That's where the heaviest snow is being shown here on our radar. But even down into Will County, portions of Kane, Kendall, Grundy County, southern LaSalle County, you could be seeing some snow this early afternoon. We have mostly cloudy, if not completely cloudy skies across Chicagoland, but we do have that potential for some snowfall over the next few hours. Taking a look at temperatures, though, as Sylvia mentioned, it doesn't feel so bad. We're at 27 degrees already at the lakefront, 26 at O'Hare to Midway, 28 in Gary and Kankakee. I see a 28 there in Morris and LaSalle, too. So our three-day forecast, temperatures are going to be hovering around 30 degrees today. We have the chance for some snow moving in again tonight. And tomorrow, some lake effect snowfall, not out of the question, especially northwest Indiana. We're going to have more sunshine on the way, though, over the next couple of days. Temperatures staying in the 20s until we get to the end of the week. Thursday, Friday, we could be climbing into the 30s, and the 40s are possible to start off next week. A full check of your forecast is coming up.
Right. Thanks, Caitlin. Well, more than 400,000 people in Illinois could lose their SNAP benefits under new requirements that just went into effect yesterday.
Saquon joins us in studio to break down what this means for people who rely on SNAP. So let's talk first, about what has changed in this program.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about some pretty big changes. This all was a thing because obviously the president passed that one big, beautiful bill. And as part of that, we know about $186 billion were cut in SNAP funding. And then we also know that there's, kind of language around this saying that, now there are some stricter requirements when it comes to these work requirements. So previously, the maximum age for these requirements was 54. Now that has been bumped up to 64. We also know that previously veterans, young adults, people experiencing homelessness were exempt from these work requirements, and now they are no longer. So obviously that's going to be a big change for people in that group, people who fall into that category. And we also know that you think about the children, right? We think about households, previously under these new last rules, it was anyone with a child under the age of 18. Now it's anyone with a child under the age of 14. So pretty big changes, especially for people who have been relying on these SNAP benefits for years.
So what is the area that we're going to see have the biggest impact? Like, who's going to feel this the most? And from all of these new categories that we've now broken down with this update, where are we seeing the biggest stressor?
Totally, yeah. So I think first, as I mentioned, the veterans, people experiencing homelessness, people, younger adults who grew up in foster care, they are no longer exempt. So that could just mean some big changes. However, we also think about people in the U.S. who might be under asylum or refugee laws because they will no longer be eligible for SNAP benefits, period. That's a huge change. And, we can dive into the numbers a little bit later, but that's a pretty big number of people who live in Illinois, too.
And speaking of that, how many people you think here locally or in the state will be impacted, say, by the change?
Yeah, absolutely. Numbers can get confusing. So 42 million Americans, right? And then when you focus in on Illinois, we're talking about at least 400,000 people in just this state alone. Now, out of that number, I also learned there are about 20,000 legally present refugees or asylees that are at risk. That's a pretty big number out of that 400,000 that could be at risk of just flat out losing their benefits.
Yeah, I know a lot of different agencies are involved in helping people who are on SNAP benefit programs, and they are expecting to see an increase in that need. What do we know that local agencies are doing to kind of help navigate what's probably going to be a big influx?
Yeah, definitely. I have my notes here just so that I'm not forgetting. We have the Illinois Department of Human Services, and they actually have now put out this free tool online where you can check to see if you are exempt from these work requirements, or to see if you actually meet those work requirements now with these new rules. So they have that tool available to use for anybody. It's free online on their website right now. They've really stepped it up. We also know, local food banks are obviously pitching in and doing their part, kind of relying on the community too to, keep donating, fundraising. They've really put that message out there in recent weeks. So lots of agencies definitely stepping up to help.
Yeah, I guess we're going to wait and see. And we're going to be talking to somebody from the Greater Chicago Food Depository a little bit later to find out what they're doing, because they're getting ready to prepare for this as well. Say thank you so much. Much more to come here on Fox 32 News at noon. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's 12:08. Developing news in Dixmoor. Residents are now under a boil water order following another water main break. The break happened at 139th between Dixie Highway and Thornton Road on Sunday. Officials say the main was repaired this morning. Right now, it's still unclear just how long this boil order will last. Tonight, the City Council of Harvey is holding a special meeting to select a new mayor.
Mayor Christopher Clark passed away, sadly, last week after battling an undisclosed illness. Clark was elected in 2019, re-elected in 2023. 6 alderpersons will choose someone to serve out the rest of his term, which is a little over 2 years. This special City Council meeting will be at 6 p.m. at Harvey City Hall.
Today marks 18 years since the shocking murders of 5 female store employees at a Tinley Park Lane Bryant store. A man posing as a delivery driver pulled out a gun, forced the women into a back room, and fatally shot them. A store employee who was shot survived, gave police a description of the killer. This case remains unsolved. The state of New Mexico is taking Meta to court. Jury selection began today in Santa Fe over allegations that Facebook and Instagram have become a, quote, breeding ground for predators. The case stems from an undercover probe into how the platforms handle sexual solicitation. Meta calls the allegations sensationalist, but prosecutors argue the company is responsible for how its systems distribute such content. Opening statements are set for February 9th.
Willie looked skyward to the east, then behind to the ground, and stated clearly in groundhogese, "I definitely do not see a shadow. Spring is coming."
Yay, Willie! It is Groundhog Day. Woodstock Willie says spring is coming early. Presented by Ned Ryerson himself, actor Stephen Tobolowsky. The movie Groundhog Day was actually filmed in Woodstock, Illinois, if you didn't know. Woodstock Willie disagreed with Punxsutawney Phil because Phil says there will be 6 more weeks of winter. But we did a little research, Sylvia.
Yes.
Turns out Willie is oftentimes more accurate than Punxsutawney Phil.
Oh, okay, because I think I saw Punxsutawney Phil had a 35%
I think you're right about
accuracy
that. Yes,
rate.
that's
So
right.
what is his, 36?
I think it's a little better than that, Sylvia.
But we have even better odds with our own Caitlin Cody, right, Caitlin?
Yeah, you know, I
Much
got
better
that
than
question from Anthony earlier, and I'll just tell you this. Our normal high for today is 32.
Mm-hmm.
So in my book, that's still very much winter.
Yes, it is.
Next week, though, Monday, by the way, we could be in the 40s.
Ooh, that sounds so warm and cozy.
I know it. When 20-something sounds good, you know we've been cold. So it has been a cloudy day. Partly to mostly cloudy conditions will continue throughout the rest of your afternoon. Now, also, we've seen some light snow. So we're going to start off with our radar because you can see behind me, the darker the blue color, the brighter the green shade, that is where the snow is currently falling. So you can see out over Lake Michigan and also portions of northern Cook County, that's where we're seeing most of that green color. So don't be surprised if you see some snow in Evanston here shortly. DeKalb County, LaSalle County, even stretching all the way up to Lake McHenry County, covered in this light blue color. You may see some flurry activity over the next few hours. Temperatures. 24-hour temperature change. We are 3 degrees warmer at the lakefront compared to yesterday at this time. And yesterday, it was lovely. We had sunny skies. It was gorgeous. Highs in the 20s. But today, we are going to be perhaps even tagging 30 this afternoon. Right now, it is 27 degrees at the lakefront in Midway, 29 in Joliet, 26 from O'Hare to Waukegan, 28 in Gary. Here's your futurecast to take you through the rest of your day. 4:15 and temperatures still hovering in the upper 20s. Now, we are going to have that drying trend until we get into tonight, when the chance for scattered showers of snow will be back. Temperatures dropping down to about 20 degrees by 2 a.m. and that's when we see that scattered light snow come down. Heading into tomorrow morning during rush hour, we still have the potential for some lake effect snow. In northwest Indiana, you can see that snow is continuing in the afternoon as temperatures stay in the 20s tomorrow. So it's going to be a touch colder, but also we have more sunshine working its way into Chicagoland. We're kind of on copy, paste, repeat for Wednesday, too, with highs only in the 20s. Here's your 5-day outlook with our normal high again, 32 degrees. That's where I expect to be on Thursday. Friday, perhaps even going above freezing at 33. We'll show you that full forecast, including the cold weekend we expect before the warm up next week ahead.
Thank you, Caitlin. It is estimated the new SNAP rules could leave roughly 1.1 million people without those food benefits. So where will those people be going to get help? Well, one organization that's expecting to see an increase in need is the Greater Chicago Food Depository.
Joining us to discuss the impact is Manager of Communications, Cameron Matheson. Hi, Cameron. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for continuing to cover this important story.
Yeah, 1.1 million people. That's an estimate of how many might be without the SNAP benefits with the new updates to the program. How do you foresee this impacting what you guys do?
Well, throughout the Illinois, it's probably closer to 200,000 people who we're anticipating losing their benefits. But make no mistake, that is going to be an increase that we are going to feel. Our partner pantries are definitely going, they're already operating at capacity. And so we're anticipating longer lines and more people who are going to need assistance.
Let's talk about the need right now. I mean, we know that the need was so big during the pandemic, and then we had the government shutdown. And I know that you guys saw a substantial number of people who needed help then. What are you seeing now, and how do you think that number will only increase?
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned the government shutdown. That was such a preview of what we're anticipating seeing. That was a really stark disruption to SNAP benefits. During that time when SNAP was interrupted just for like a week and a half, we served more than 240,000 household visits, and that's the highest number in our nearly 50-year history at the Food Depository. So we are anticipating something similar to that. And so, yeah, even going into that time and even currently, 1 in 5 households throughout Chicago and Cook County are experiencing food insecurity. And when you talk about households with children, it's 1 in 4. And those are households who aren't entirely sure where their next meal is coming from, and aren't moms and dads who aren't sure what they're going to put on the dinner table for their kids at night.
So let's talk about this. As you prepare for this, you are expecting to see an increase. What are you going to need to make sure that you're able to provide the services that are going to be put on you as far as demands and increase?
Yes, we are indefinitely inviting as many people who can help in this movement to end hunger by donating, volunteering, advocating, raising their voices to prevent further legislation in the future that will impact SNAP negatively. This is kind of an all-hands-on-deck situation. The great thing is that we know Chicagoans are compassionate and generous people, and we have seen that time and again. And we are going to need that right now as we go into this time when people are going to start losing their SNAP benefits. For every meal that we as the emergency food system provides, SNAP provides 9. So that tells you what a huge resource that is. And so going without that is really going to be challenging, but we're committed to providing food to anyone who comes to one of our partner pantries. We're going to need everyone to help us with that.
Another question for you here. Obviously, the government is going to be saving money by not providing as many people benefits. Has there been any talk about maybe increasing the number of grants or donations from the government that go to food pantries to kind of offset the difference here?
We've not heard anything about extra resources. Okay. I've not heard anything, so I'm not sure how to speak to that at the moment, but not that we're aware of right now. So we are doing everything we can, tapping into our sources. A lot of our food comes from 3 main sources: government, donations of food from people, from the food industry, from food rescue, and then individual monetary donations from our neighbors. And so we're relying on all of those sources to make sure that we have enough food for our neighbors who are going to really feel the pinch if they lose their benefits.
Well, Cameron, we have been out to the Greater Chicago Food Depository. We so appreciate what you do, all the hard work, and you never disappoint. So hopefully you'll get the help you'll need to keep doing what you're doing. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, Cameron.
Well, appreciate you. Thank you.
Well, just a strange story and disturbing. A search is underway for the mother of Today's Show anchor Savannah Guthrie.
So coming up, we are speaking with TMZ to break down the latest on what we know. We'll be right back.
Pay attention.
Welcome back. It's 12:20. The mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie is missing in Arizona. Authorities held a news conference earlier this morning and have described the home as a crime scene.
Joining us now, Michael Babcock with TMZ to give us an update. Okay, so Michael, we watched this press conference this morning. It was shocking, to say the least. Explain what was detailed by the sheriff in that press conference, and have you learned anything new aside from what was mentioned?
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me. I think, look, when you hear that Savannah Guthrie's mom, Nancy, 84 years old, has gone missing, I think most people's mind went to a place where, okay, is it possible that she accidentally wandered off? And this might be a situation where you've got an elderly person who has, again, just gone missing, but nothing nefarious has necessarily happened. Well, I think that was all unfortunately put to bed this morning as the Pima County Sheriff in the Tucson area holds this news conference, as you said, and he says, look, she was last seen, Nancy was, about 9:30, 9:45 Saturday night. The circumstances of that last sighting aren't clear, but she was seen Saturday night. Sunday afternoon, her family seemingly was not able to contact her, and then made took the step to go and report her missing. And she is now, obviously, as you see there on the missing persons flyer, categorized as a missing person. But the sheriff says we saw things inside of the home that were concerning. Now, what that might be, they never got into detail, and it's not anything that we have been able to discern at this point. But they saw something in there that made them think that this, again, was not someone who wandered off, but this was a crime scene. And that's exactly how he then described it. It's a crime scene, and we believe a crime has been committed. We can tell you that she is not in great physical health. She is not even thought of to have the capacity to get up and walk away. So bottom line, clearly the authorities believe that she was taken. Savannah Guthrie has said our main focus here now is the safe return of our mother. I think obviously people are hoping that that is still a possibility, given what now feels a lot more serious than it did maybe just a couple of hours ago.
Let's talk about her health, because I think they did address, and you said this at the top here, absolutely right. Our first thought is, she's 80-something years old. Yeah. Does she have dementia? Did she possibly walk away? What did you learn from this news conference about her health?
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously as happens with age, physically at least, she's not as as sort of able to get around and move as she was years ago, and because of that, they said it's just physically impossible for her to have got up and walked out of the home and gone somewhere, either intentionally or not. So obviously then, if that's the case, then she's not at the home. They have done an incredibly thorough search. As a matter of fact, they have gotten canines from Border Patrol to go and to search the area. So they are not sparing any expense here in trying to find her. But the bottom line is she couldn't have gotten up. She's not in good enough health to have gotten up and walked away. They believe that she was taken, and then the question is, where is Nancy Guthrie right now?
The fact that Border Patrol is involved is interesting. I mean, this community isn't far from the Mexico border, but I mean, your mind wanders. Was it a kidnapping? Are they going to be asking for ransom?
No, I think that's a fair question, and that's something that they've got to look into here. Is this if something nefarious did happen here, was it random? Was it something where this person, where Nancy was targeted because she has a famous daughter? I think everything right now is on the table, and law enforcement are looking at all different possibilities here, and unfortunately, just more unanswered questions than answers right now.
How did they end that news conference? What did they say their next steps are, or what are they saying to the public?
Right. I mean, they are really pleading with the public for help. They said, look, we have been in situations like this before where the public has helped find missing people. So they are really imploring anyone in that community, if they know anything, if they've seen anything, to come forward and to help us find this woman. And that was, really the message to the community. I think it's seems clear that they don't have all that much to go off of right now. If they do, they're not letting on publicly. So I think they're at that point where they're asking anyone, again, if you've seen anything, come forward and help us out here.
And then Savannah, I understand she was not on the Today Show
no, she was not.
This morning, which makes sense. She's been with her family.
Yeah. Yeah, right. And of course, I'm sure she flew over there yesterday as they were reporting her missing. They did on the Today Show. They did address the story. It's obviously a national news story, and they touched on it. And they read a statement from Savannah. And again, she thanked everybody for the thoughts, the well wishes. There's been an outpouring of support, as you would expect. And they said, look, we want to bring our mom home. That's the main focus here now, above anything else. And I think everybody hopes that that's the outcome here.
Yeah, very frightening to hear, especially the new information that was released this morning.
Yeah.
Michael Babcock with TMZ, thank you so much for joining us and breaking this down.
Of course. Thanks so much for having me.
Good to see you. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's 12:28. Here's a look at some of the top stories that we're following for you this afternoon.
New work requirements in effect for people who receive SNAP benefits. Adults up to age 64 without young children are now required to work or volunteer at least 80 hours per month to maintain their eligibility for food assistance.
And a boiled water order has now been issued in Dixmoor following a water main break. The break happened on 139th Street between Dixie Highway and Thornton Road on Sunday. The village says repairs were completed at about 2:30 this morning. Officials did not say how long that boiled water order is going to last. Let's head over to Caitlin now to find out what you can expect with the forecast for today. This is a scary, cold-looking picture here that's live, but it's actually not that bad, is it, Caitlin? For
it's
us,
cloudy.
what we're used to, right?
Right. Temperature-wise, not terrible. I do expect to be around 30 degrees this afternoon as our high, but Sylvia's right. It's not the best-looking view out your window today. We have some light snow across the area, some drizzle in spots. Behind me, you can see this blue shade here. This is indicating very light light precipitation from Lake County to McHenry, down into Kane and Kendall County, Will County, Kankakee even. You have the potential for some mist out there this early afternoon and over the next couple of hours even before we do dry out. Temperature-wise, though, as mentioned, right around 30 as our high today. We're already hovering at 27 degrees from the lakefront to O'Hare and Midway, 29 in Joliet, 28 in Morris and in Kankakee. Temperatures in northwest Indiana in the mid to upper 20s. The feel-like temperature down into the teens, 19 at O'Hare and 18 at Midway. 15 from DeKalb and Woodstock is what it feels like. So with our high around 30, which by the way is still a couple degrees below where we should be for this time of year, and that west wind around 5 to 15, you still need your winter jacket. Don't get me wrong. It is going to be mostly cloudy, but again, as far as precipitation goes, very light, if any. Tonight, dropping down to about 17 with that northwest wind around 5 to 10. And tomorrow, staying in the 20s with the chance for some lake effect snow in northwest Indiana. The wind will be coming in out of the north again around 5 to 10, but we are going to have more sunshine mixing in, thank goodness. So here's our futurecast. Through the rest of the day today, again, you might see some mist or a few flurries over the next few hours. Then we dry out until tonight. Tonight, scattered light snow is possible. And then as we reach tomorrow morning, we could see some lake effect snow bands moving into northwest Indiana from Lake to Porter to LaPorte, perhaps even to portions of southern Cook County. And then we work our way into the afternoon hours on Wednesday, still seeing some snow as that Michiana area has been receiving from LaPorte to Berrien County. But the temperatures on Wednesday are only going to be in the upper 20s again. So the next couple of days, temperatures in the mid to upper 20s, a little bit colder than today. Then we're back to about freezing on Thursday, which is a great thing. Chance for snow back Thursday night into early Friday. Friday's high right around 33. Then this weekend back down to the 20s. In fact, Saturday a high of only 22, but we could see the 40s by Monday of next week. That's a quick check of your forecast. It's 12:32. Stay with us.
If you think you can't get
Welcome back. It's 12:34. A partial government shutdown is now underway. A live look at the nation's capital, where the House is set to vote tomorrow on a group of bills to fund the federal government. The shutdown went into effect on Friday when lawmakers failed to pass a funding bill by the midnight deadline.
Democrats say they are not going to budge until changes are made to ICE enforcement.
We held our ground and made clear our demand. The Senate must separate the Homeland Security's bill out of the large appropriations bill and allow this chamber to make real changes to overhaul ICE and to end the violence.
We have to allow ICE to do its job. We have to allow Border Patrol to do its job, and we're going to make sure they have the funding to do that.
Democrats' demands include requiring those ICE agents to remove their masks, identify themselves, and use body cameras. Meanwhile, the brief shutdown is already taking a toll, especially at airports. More than 10,000 FAA employees will be furloughed, and air traffic controllers will be required to work without pay.
Switching gears now, Mayor Johnson is drawing controversy for his executive order pertaining to ICE.
Political correspondent Paris Schutz joins us now to break that down. So what happened here?
All right, well, this all happened over the weekend
Saturday,
while we might have been engaging in our weekend activities. But Mayor Johnson signed an executive order basically saying that they would gather evidence and police would document perceived abuses of the law by ICE or federal immigration agents. He also said our office has worked in close collaboration with the state's attorney, Cook County State's Attorney Eileen O'Neill Burke, who would have to bring any prosecution. The mayor can't prosecute somebody. Right. It's not a law enforcement prosecutorial kind of job. Well, she says this is the first I'm hearing of this. He said, my office agreed with this. I didn't see this executive order until the day it was signed. She said, quote, Mayor Johnson's statement is not true. My office did not receive the executive order until it was released to the public. We do not provide legal approval of any matter until we reviewed it. On such a critical issue, it's important we get it right. So Burke is basically saying it's not that I oppose or support the notion of prosecuting federal immigration agents. It's just that the mayor signed this executive order claiming that my office approved, and I haven't even seen it until now. So we're going to wait to see today what the mayor says and how he responds to the fact. I mean, basically insinuating he lied or he misspoke or something like that. Now, he said he spoke with members of her office, but again, she's the head of the office saying, I never saw any such plan until he made this executive order public.
Okay, so let's talk about what this executive order would do, because basically it would allow Chicago police to get involved if they believe federal agents are doing things they're not supposed to. Explain.
Well, I don't think it goes as far as them arresting federal agents, because remember what Police Superintendent Larry Snelling said. He said, if you think our job is to arrest other sworn law enforcement, that's not what we're here to do. So we have not heard Superintendent Snelling's position or take on this. But what it is that they would document these perceived abuses of the law, and then it would be, I guess, up to the state's attorney to prosecute. As he's saying, he's bringing the state's attorney. Now, the state's attorney Burke has not prosecuted any federal law enforcement agent to this point. There are folks that are saying that she should have opened an investigation into the killing of Silverio Villegas Gonzalez and whether or not that was justified. To our knowledge, that hasn't happened. So it does not sound like all these various law enforcement agencies are on the same page as Mayor Johnson right now. So we're going to have to get more clarification out of him on that.
But this isn't the first time we've heard of this, right? Aren't other states, including states' attorney generals, looking into holding Trump administration officials responsible for some of these ICE enforcement activities?
They've talked about it, Natalie, and again, the legal mechanism is still a little in flux. So you saw the Philadelphia district attorney over there in Pennsylvania basically saying, we will do this.
Right.
He used harsh language, and he was rebuked by the state's Democratic governor, Josh Shapiro. So it really comes down to the law enforcement agencies, not really the mayor's office. And that's why I'm confused by this executive order, because the mayor's office doesn't have a prosecutorial power, okay? Like there isn't a city, there's administrative court for the city, but beyond, fining somebody, they don't have the ability to just throw somebody in jail. The police can. But we don't know how Police Superintendent Larry Snelling plans to go about this. So I think there's a lot of questions. They signed this over the weekend where there wasn't a whole lot of scrutiny on this, and there's a lot of questions that we have in terms of how this would work. But I do think it comes down to offices like the Cook County State's Attorney and even Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul. What do they feel? Do they feel that their office has the power to go after sworn law enforcement agents who are engaging perhaps the way they did in Minnesota with the killing of Alex Preddy? And in that case, we know that the FBI and the Department of Justice has opened up a civil rights investigation into that. So I just think there's a lot of questions that need to be asked and answered about the city executive order. But you saw Mayor Johnson, I think, leaning into this anger right now over perceived overreach of ICE and Customs and Border Patrol and trying to capitalize on that and say, look, we're going to do something about it. What that something is, does it have teeth? That's what we have to figure out.
It was kind of touted as Chicago is the first city to do something like this when that executive order was signed. Interesting that there was no discussion between him and those who have the legal authority to actually do something, because throughout this process, as we have seen people accusing, ICE of one thing or the other, there has not been Bovino was in court. We have not seen where people have actually been charged as a result of the actions of ICE, and this was an executive order that appeared to come across as if it was going to enable Chicago to do that.
Right, and really, as you said, he says in his executive order, we worked with the state's attorney's office. So that is the prosecutorial arm here, and she's saying, no, you didn't. Not to my knowledge, you didn't.
But this is going to create maybe even more bad blood between these different departments, isn't it? I mean, it's an issue the mayor has already had in the past with not necessarily discussing things. The governor's a perfect example of that, right?
Right. Yes, the mayor has gotten into this issue with the governor's office. They have gone at it. It's clear that State's Attorney Eileen O'Neill Burke and Mayor Johnson do not see eye to eye on a lot of things. She's a tougher on crime type of prosecutor. Mayor Johnson has opposed the notion of, over-incarcerating, more incarceration as a way to bring crime down. So, I mean, this is, we just haven't gotten more beyond these statements at this point. I think both of them are trying to figure out how they want to navigate this.
Is that going to happen today?
We're going to try. Yeah. We're going to try to figure that out. So, yeah, but you made a good point. The accountability has come from federal judges right now. That's really the only accountability we've seen for some of these perhaps perceived overreach and missteps by federal immigration agents.
All right, Parashutz, thank you so much.
You got it.
We'll be right back.
The Viewer in the Morning really.
The music's industry's greatest performers gathered last night for the 68th annual Grammy Awards in Los Angeles. Kendrick Lamar, Bad Bunny made history. Justin Bieber danced in his underwear, and music icon Cher was honored with the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Here to help us recap the event, the one and only Jake Hamilton.
I don't know who put that in the prompter, but I like that introduction. That was good. I could get used to that. Yeah. So it was a night of a lot of firsts for the music industry last night. Bad Bunny made history as the first Spanish language album ever to take home music's top prize album of the year. He also won Best Global Music Performance. Of course, this upcoming weekend, he's going to be performing at the Super Bowl in Santa Clara.
Oh, the Grammy goes to Luther Vandross. Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, not Luther Vandross. Kendrick Lamar made history becoming the rapper with the most ever Grammy wins, earning multiple statues last night and the first to take home back-to-back records of the year. Cher did accidentally read the award winner as the late singer Luther Vandross instead of the song title, which was Luther.
Oh,
Kendrick now has 27 Grammys, beating Jay-Z's record of 25.
Wow.
Steven Spielberg, already one of the most accomplished directors in Hollywood, but now he has another reason to celebrate. Spielberg took home the Grammy Award for Best Music Film for his documentary Music by John Williams. Spielberg produced the documentary, which focuses, of course, on the life and career of composer John Williams, known for making some of the most iconic movie scores of all time. And with this Grammy win, Spielberg now has achieved EGOT status, which means he has won an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony.
As an executive, I see no value in you.
You know we have the Bangkok merger coming up. Prove me wrong.
Sylvia, I say this with all the sincerity in the world.
Sure.
You would hate this movie.
Okay.
But survival horror film, it's called Send Help, took the box office by storm over the weekend. The film landed at the #1 spot, raked in about $20 million at its worldwide debut. I would sort of describe it as, have you seen Misery? It's like
I know Misery.
It's like Misery meets Castaway, I would say. It stars Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien as co-workers caught in a twisted game of survival after a plane crash. The horror thriller movie Iron Lung got a second place opening. That was about $18 million. And in third place, the documentary Melania took in $8 million for its opening weekend.
We need to capitalize on Michael's success because the Jackson family is the brand. That's our Coca-Cola. And we need to start selling. So I'm planning an international tour. This is just the beginning. I need to think. I told you what to think.
I told you what to think. The first full trailer of the upcoming Michael Jackson biopic dropped this morning. The film is called Michael. It's from the director of Training Day and the producer of Bohemian Rhapsody. The film stars Michael's nephew, Jafar Jackson, as the King of Pop. The movie opens in theaters in April.
Nowadays, I think things will become a little bit easier, though I did destroy New Jersey the other day. Oh, I perhaps shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, maybe he wasn't supposed to say that. Our Chicago exclusive interview with actor Sir Ian McKellen actually went viral over the weekend after Marvel fans noticed the actor let something slip about the upcoming Avengers film. Sir Ian plays the X-Men villain Magneto in the film, and in his line about destroying New Jersey seems to imply he could be taking on a number of Marvel heroes, including Spider-Man. We'll find out when Avengers Doomsday opens in theaters in December.
He dropped that.
Yeah, it's funny. I was laughing with one of my buddies. I said, you know, we got 30 minutes of just legacy, incredible stories, and that 10-second line did about 1 million views.
And did you pick up on it immediately?
Yeah, but you know the thing.
You a minute?
I mean, no, I got what he was saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I got the Doomsday thing, but you know, a lot of times, you know, with actors in Marvel movies, they're not really going to tell you anything. And he had, you know, I'd been to his show the night before, and he made a comment. He said, "Don't ask me about the Avengers plot, mostly because I don't understand it." So,
he and I both. We're both in the same boat. All right.
Dropped an Easter egg.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what that means.
Going viral.
Thanks, guys.
We'll be right back.
Fox 32 News.
Water problems once again plaguing South suburban Dixmoor.
The village is under a boil order after a major water main break. Anita starts our Chicago Live interview with the village president. Anita.
Hey, ladies. Yeah, this is kind of an appropriate conversation for Groundhog Day because we were just talking to the village president, Mr. Fitzgerald Roberts, about this last week. Want to go ahead and bring him back into the conversation. Thank you so much for making time for us yet again. What is going on?
Well, again, we under right now we're under a boil order. We do have help coming in, but at the same time, these pipes is old and they're not waiting. The infrastructure is over 100 years old, and we're going to need a lot of help with this. The pipes are just breaking. I mean, they're old, they're decayed.
Yeah, I mean, you all are in the midst of the infrastructure project that you've been working on. Tell me about how, like, what percentage of the city or the town has been covered with the infrastructure project, and how much more you still need to go, because it feels like every week now that one gets repaired, another one goes.
Yeah, well, you probably have maybe like 15% done. So we still have a long ways to go. And all we can do is just continue to just go with the flow, you know, until we can pretty much get 50% of it done.
How frustrating is this for you? I mean, it's like whack-a-mole.
It's very frustrating. I'm up. I really can't sleep at night, but this is the job that I chose, to be a servant to the people. So my job is to continue to do what I do and talk to the powers to be, you know, the higher ups, and see if I can get more funding in to take care of this issue that we're having here in Dixmoor.
Yeah, when you say help is on the way, what kind of help are you getting?
Well, right now I got Build Up Cook with President Tony Pratt-Winkle. She's doing a great job, as well as our commissioner, 5th District Commissioner, Dr. Keisha McCaskill. She's doing a great job. They're coming in. They was out with me on yesterday with the one break to see pretty much what's going on out here.
Okay, and so you have this line repaired. You're under a boil order. How long do you anticipate that lasting?
Well, that line is going to last for a little while longer, but of course that line probably have about six to 10 breaks on
the
it
boil
already.
order.
So it's really like just clamps that we're putting on. That's the one on 139th, and I just discovered another one that's ready to break. It's pretty much, it hasn't broken all the way, but the street is puffing up on 141st and Marshfield.
141st and Marshfield. Okay, we're going to keep checking in with you as your whole village is really going through it right now. We'll see what these temperatures do to either help or hurt you in the days to come. But thank you for your time today.
I thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Let me tell you, everybody, a little bit more about what we can anticipate during our 1 to 4 p.m. hours of Chicago Live today. In our 3 o'clock hour, again, another thing that kind of seems straight out of a movie here, what's described as a revolutionary new social media platform called Maltbook just debuted. It gives AI bots the ability to communicate with each other without humans involved. Yeah. And then here's another one. We're going to talk to a professor of computer science about that, and from the University of Chicago. Here's another one, again, going back to Groundhog's Day. Of course, we have the Seattle Seahawks and the Patriots that are going to be facing off yet again in the Super Bowl. We're going to be talking with someone from our sister station as the preparations are underway. But we're also going to have an important conversation about sports betting. Yes, it is legal, but sometimes things go a little too far, and financial ruin is right around the corner for a lot of people. So we're going to talk about that, as well as I'll be speaking with the city attorney for Harvey about a big decision that they have to make soon, tonight, in fact, after the mayor suddenly passed away last week. So I hope to see everyone online, again, YouTube, the Fox local app, or on fox32chicago.com between 1 and 4 p.m. for another round of Chicago Live today. We'll go to break, and Sylvia and Natalie will be right back.
Two-minute car wash.